Let's talk about development branches in Keboola. Development branches allow you to modify component configurations without impacting the production environment. You can use them to test changes to data extractor configurations, transformations, flows, and even the entire pipeline. This way, any changes can be safely tested in a development branch before being implemented in the master branch of a production project. When you create a development branch, Keboola makes an exact copy of the entire master branch project. With development branches, you can make changes, run configurations, and test results without affecting production. The configurations and transformations in the development branch can read data from the production storage of the master branch, but any output data is written to a separate bucket in the development branch, ensuring isolation from production data. If you have a pipeline consisting of a data extractor, transformation, and data writer, creating a development branch will generate a development branch bucket in storage. When you run the transformation, it will use the data from this development bucket as input. All components work with storage in such a way that they create new data in the development bucket, and if they need existing data, they either use production data from the input mapping or the corresponding development branch bucket for processing. Once you've completed the necessary changes, you can choose to merge them back into the production branch. There are two options. The first option is to merge the changes and delete the development branch. Or you can keep the development branch for future changes. If certain changes don't need to be merged, the development branch can simply be deleted. You can also opt for a partial merge, incorporating some changes while discarding others. It's important to note that you can have multiple development branches at the same time, which is useful when working on different projects simultaneously. Different users may require their own branches. However, changes made in one development branch are not visible in others, so the best practice is to clone the master branch when creating a new development branch. This ensures that your branch is a complete and up-to-date copy of the production environment. After making the necessary changes, you can merge them back into the production branch. If a colleague attempts to merge their separate development branch, they will be notified if there are already changes in the production branch, which helps avoid unintended modifications. This is why it's essential to review all changes before merging into production. However, remember that changes made in one development branch are not automatically reflected in other branches. Currently, we are in the master branch of a typical Keboola project named Academy. To create a development branch, navigate to the project drop-down menu and select the new icon. But before proceeding, let's take a look at what's happening in this project. The pipeline consists of an HTTP extractor that downloads a CSV from a URL and saves in storage as a table called Bitcoin. Then there is a BigQuery transformation that selects the top 50 prices from the extracted table and stores them in the top prices table in storage. We want to safely modify this pipeline in a development branch, decreasing the number of top prices to 10. To make this change, we create a development branch, name it, and add a description. When the branch is created, Keboola clones the entire project from the master branch. The interface updates to indicate that we are now working in the development branch. Notice the orange logo and bar, reminding us that all changes are isolated to this branch. You can switch back to the production branch or other projects at any time. If the branch is no longer needed, it can be deleted. To modify the pipeline, first, navigate to the Transformations section and open the BigQuery transformation named Bitcoin Prices. In the code editor, change the limit from 50 to 10. And now we can save the changes and run the transformation. The transformation runs within the development branch using the production data as input while writing the output to a new development bucket. This ensures that the production environment remains unaffected. To verify, you can check the job log to see that the production data was used as input. We can also observe that the output was stored in a new development bucket indicated by the icon. Now we can finally return to the master branch to confirm that no changes were made to production storage. If needed, you can display the development branch buckets in storage to view the results. As you can see, the new table in the development branch, indicated by the orange icon, contains only the top 10 results. However, when we check the original top prices table in the production branch, it remains unaffected by the changes made in the development branch. It still contains all the top 50 results. Next, we test the pipeline by running the HTTP extractor in the development branch. Navigate to Components and My Configurations. Find the extractor and run it. A new development bucket is created in storage to store the data. Afterwards, we can, for example, create a new table or make additional changes in the pipeline. Okay, to create a new table, we need to specify its name and a path since we are working with an HTTP extractor. Then we'll save it and run it. By navigating back to the root, we can display the job we have just run, which is the extraction of the Bitcoin prices table. Now, if we check the job log, we can verify the changes. The extractor creates a table into the development branch, again, with no impact on the data within the production branch. Let us look further down the data pipeline. Running the transformation again will now use the data from the development bucket created by the extractor, ensuring the entire pipeline operates within the development branch. Thus, once the changes are tested, they can be merged back into production. To do this, navigate to the development branch dashboard and click Branch Diff to review the changes. Here, you can review every single component where any change has been made in comparison to the production. Each of them can be reviewed clicking on the icon of 2 arrows. This way, you can easily review in full detail what exact changes have been made. If there are any new changes in the production master branch, for example from another development branch merge, a warning will appear to help you avoid conflicts. You can merge all changes, or you can partially merge by selecting specific changes, for instance only the transformation. Add a comment message to document the changes, and decide whether to delete or keep the development branch after merging. After merging, navigate to the production branch to verify the updates. Open the Bitcoin transformation to confirm the limit has been updated to 10, run the transformation in production to apply the changes, and update the production data in the top per prices table. As a best practice for development branches, we would recommend following. Use one development branch at a time when possible, or carefully coordinate changes if multiple branches are used. Always review changes before merging to production to ensure safety and consistency. Test the full pipeline in the development branch to catch any potential issues before merging. By following these steps, you can safely implement changes to your Keboola projects while keeping the production environment secure and reliable. Excited to learn more? Visit academy.keboola.com and dive into the full course to become a Keboola expert.